So, Mike, how surprised are you that RG3 is out of the league?
Well, the one thing I'd like to say is that when you take a look at RG's career, what Robert has really done is, his rookie year, he was, off the charts. Every type of record he broke in Washington. That year was better than any Super Bowl years they had. And you take a look at his turnover ratio, touchdown, interception, his running average, everything that you look for. But in my opinion, at the end of the season, he wanted to be a drop-back quarterback. He took it as an insult, running the type of offense we were running. Now, he did some incredible things. Then the next year, you could see him kind of go down a little bit, not the same stats. But when I got fired out of there, I could tell that they wanted to make Robert a drop-back quarterback. And he's not a drop-back quarterback. It takes time. He just thought the transition was going to be very easy, and it's not very easy, especially when you never ran that type of offense in college. So it's a learning experience. It's going to be very tough after a few years to jump back in the league.
For me, the rise and fall of Robert Griffin in the National Football League is one of the saddest stories I've ever closely watched. And I give you high marks and lots of credit for helping him be the best he could be as a rookie in this league. It's hard to do what you pulled off. And you also bounced back. What were you? Did you fall to 1 and something?
Well, they started out at 4 and 6, and they won the last 6. Then we go 10
won
and
the
6
division.
and win the division.
Yeah, we won 7 in a row. We started out 3 and 6. We won 7 in a row.
3 and 6, yeah.
And we had a chance.
And you're up 14-0 over Seattle in a home playoff game, and Robert had already, I don't know if it was tweaked, he'd actually hurt his knee against Haloti Ngata in that game, right?
Against Baltimore.
And it started to go on as you scored the 14-0 touchdown, and then I was all on your side. Let him go, let him play, and unfortunately it went completely. And I thought psychologically he could never quite bounce back. He never got his legs back underneath him. But there was also a fateful off-season meeting that I've heard about from a number of people, and I think you participated. I know his father was there. I don't know if the mom came, but they were so concerned about their son's health that they said, we've got to keep him in the pocket. No more spread option, no more read option. And do you remember this turning point session?
Oh, no question about it. In fact, when Robert came back, and right after the Cleveland game, he came back and he said, hey, I don't want to run the read option anymore. I said, why? Because Kirk, we beat Cleveland 38-31, and Kirk played very well.
He did.
And he said, well, if Kirk doesn't have to run it, why do I have to run it? I said, you know what? Kirk is not a read option guy. He's never run that before. You have. And I said, you can do some things that no quarterback can do. Just keep on using this, and it'll take some time, but you're going to get this drop-back passing game down. But you have to run what we've been doing to keep you healthy. And so it went south from there.
And you had never coached the read option, but as I remember, you went down to, where'd you go, to Baylor and to try to figure out how to run it?
What we did is we took a look at every film that was in college. People run some type of the option, and we have a lot more time to spend in the National Football League than they do in college. So not only do you have to run the read option, but you have to be able to run everything. And so the read option was a part that we ran maybe 20% of the time, 15% of the time with the play action game off of it, but it utilized his skills. And all of a sudden, when you got away from the read option and you went to the drop back game, Robert really got better. And the year we won 7 games in a row, he went from 31st in the NFL in third downs to the top 5. We kept it simpler for him. What we did is we said, hey, Robert, let's go look at 2 guys, either run it or dump it off. And that's one of the reasons we won 7 in a row.
So I was a big fan of RG3 coming out of Baylor, but I have criticized him for turning slowly but surely into RGIII as he became, I think, a victim of social media, self-promoting. It was all about him. Tell us what you saw, his evolution off the field.
I'll be honest with you, I was really disappointed in myself because I knew where Robert was going. I knew where his dad was going. I knew where Dan Schneider was going. It was up to me to convince this guy that, hey, if you don't run the drop-back game, if you don't take your game, it's not there now, but you can get there. I blame myself for not getting to the kid. He really believed he was Aaron Rodgers. And in his mind, he believed he was Aaron Rodgers. I said, you know what? You're not Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is not you.
Or Peyton Manning.
Or Peyton Manning. In time, though, you can learn the drop-back game, and you will get better. But you got to do some of the things that we've been doing your rookie year just to keep the defenses off you. Because with that play-action game, Robert had all the time in the world to throw. Right. He had time. And so And he was getting better, just like, you know, we went from 31st to tied for 5th over the last 7 games in third downs. But the next year, because of the injury, when he did have the injury, you know, he felt like, you know, hey, you know, I can't run anymore. And I said, John Elway lost his ACL his sophomore year or senior year in college after his third, fourth game. He's been playing with a brace on his knee for 16 games. He's never missed a game. So, you know, if you can come back from that knee, but what you have to do is get better and to drop that game and kind of doing some of the things that we've been doing. And with that, I said, you've got a chance. If not, you'll be out of the league in 4 or 5 years.
How did you like his rehab? How did you like how he approached the off season?
Well, I think everybody could see that in the off season that he was kind of convinced that, you know, we weren't running what we did in 2012. We needed to go a different direction to see if he could drop back, you know, be a drop back quarterback and throw. You know, from my experience, you watch people practice every day. You know if they can throw.
Right.
If they're naturals at it. And you know when it takes a little bit longer or you can't slide in the pocket, you just don't have the anticipation.
Right.
And he did not have that, so you knew he was going to struggle. And, you know, I had to convince him that, you know, this is going to take some time. But I never was able to do that.
How big you know, he won Rookie of the Year, but he still, for me, and looking at it from a distance, he didn't receive the adulation that Andrew Luck got. Because Andrew Luck, everybody said Andrew Luck is the guy you just take out the package and he's ready to go play for you. And he didn't get that kind of praise, even though he had won Rookie of the Year, he had won the division. He wanted it to be respected because Andrew Luck was a prototypical drop-back quarterback.
And I told Robert, we just said, let's sit down and watch this film. I've never seen a guy get hit more than Andrew Luck did after the rookie season. I said, let's look at you, how many times you've been hit.
That's correct.
One of the reasons why you haven't been hit is the defense. They're afraid to rush you. They got to play these option reads.
Right.
And you got all day to throw the play action on first and second down. Well, we have to get you better is on third down. And we did get better on it, but then after that, of course, things.
So is it possible he became, Robert, too close to your owner, Dan Snyder, who loved him before you picked him? Can that be a hindrance to your relationship with Robert?
No, to be honest with you, with a guy like Dan, he really believed Robert had all those things, all the tools, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at the stats. And unless you really study the game all the time and you really look at different things that a quarterback can do and not do, you can see why an owner or a dad or a mother, you know, hey, you know, don't get my son hit. I understand that. But one thing you have to learn, if you do run the read option, the quarterback cannot get hit. He has to slide, give the ball off, pitch it. But if somebody's coming after you, you've got to hand it off. If you do run, never take a hit. And that's what Russell Wilson has done throughout his career. Yeah. He's the best at it. And you know who's ever? Deshaun Watson.
He was terrific.
He's doing unbelievable, doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Sliding, throwing the ball away, be able to throw on the run.
Yeah.
Pretty
You gotta
impressive.
tell him, Mike, you can read the stats, but I'm the coach. I know what's going on. All right, so you have to answer something for us because Shannon's always talking as usual. He thinks he can outrun Jason Witten right now. In this state. Think you can do it? You've seen him run a lot.
It's hard when you don't run those 40s every day, but knowing Shannon, he probably does.
No.
I know
No.
He doesn't.
No.
Running.
It's all hype.
He's on his own bike. Yeah.
Chalk, I just tweeted Joy and wanted to know if he could outrun me. Byron Chamberlain. You know, Chalk, I can't outrun me.
No. I never bet against him.
Never.
Mike, thanks for joining.
You hear that, Skip?
Appreciate it.
Did not.
Does Lonzo Ball already need to change his shot? We'll discuss that next.